understand what I said. It makes me smile. I smile wide. All I know is all they say, all they say to anyway, stand in what I said. Waste time going to the man. Don't I know it made me all the things all the things the next
I know those 4 people over there can see us.
Are we on a big screen?
We must be.
I don't know.
You can hear me?
We can hear you. I don't know if they can on the live stream, but.
Hi, Charity. We were just talking about the fact that we have a friend named Charity here.
What does he say?
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you a little bit. I can hear you better now.
Okay. We were just talking about the fact that we have a friend named Charity here who's actually like very weirdly similar to you.
Somebody is a friend there that's weirdly similar to you.
Really?
And she has your name.
Her name is Charity.
She has my name and she's a doppelganger.
She's an artist.
She's an artist in like if your aesthetic was a little more like abstract and less earthy.
Abstract less earthy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Basically, like if your aesthetic was more abstract and less earthy, her house would be exactly the same. Like
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to get a photo of her so I can see my Spain doppelganger.
yeah,
She's American, but she's married.
You know there's a charity in every country.
There's a charity in every country.
yeah. I've only met 2 people named Charity in my life, and yet I've never been without a person named Charity living in the city that I live in for the last 15 years.
Perfect. That is a must. Anywhere you move next, you have to make sure there's a charity living there. You got to get that phone book out. You got to search.
Yeah. It wasn't hard to find this one.
Oh,
Yes, I didn't realize I was.
you're good.
Yeah. Marshall and Lindsay.
Hey guys, you get down here.
Yeah, we were. But we were able to make it so that you could join us.
Yeah. Me too. Hopefully people can kind of hear us. I don't know.
I think I have really bad hearing, and then the music is so it's not interpreting. Yeah, everyone should know what you're saying.
Okay.
We should have subtitles.
There's no
like
online.
We could like speak what little Catalan we know, and then
Yeah, I realize I read a lot more than I imagine, and it's not caught up a little bit. Yeah, so I'm like, what are you saying?
if I'd ever learned to sign, I would be able to communicate with you very well right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, I didn't hear the last part, but yeah, you should learn how to sign.
Learn how to sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this.
Oh, you have to hide it.
And you know this one?
And I'll be there.
What's this mean?
It means I love you.
Oh.
So now you can sign I love you to all your love. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I was out on the sidewalk one day and Emmett got like a cut on his finger. And he was like, "Hey, Daddy, I got a cut. It's right here. Can you see it?"
Yes.
And like there were people around me and like who saw that. I was like, "No."
Started over, you can, but like otherwise. We'll be
Oh, somebody explained. I didn't have time to explain to him what was wrong with that gesture.
So, okay, here we go.
I was just like, "Don't do that."
Like, why? There's a cut right here.
You can point. You can do this. This one. Any finger, not this one.
Oh,
I like all the people who can see me but can't hear me.
I'm back. We just met, so.
You guys are unfortunately breaking up pretty hardcore right now. I have no idea what the joke is.
Oh, Purple Monkey dishwasher.
Okay. It's still going over my head, but it's cool. Uh-oh, video's frozen.
How many people are here?
Oh my God.
It's perfect timing, right?
Music's like.
It's just this song. No.
Just like you're doing too much.
Yeah. Oh, and it's off Spotify too, so it's another
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah. Streaming instead of coming straight.
It's good to see you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, however blurry.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Yeah.
see my tie yet?
That's pretty hip, man.
It's
too blurry to really make out what it is. It looks like, oh, that's a TIE fighter tie.
Yeah, it's a TIE fighter. Yeah, exactly.
Tie. Yeah.
Do you think at any point we could move the camera?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like seems very official tripod, but I wanted to be able to like move it maybe later on.
Well, so
Yeah. I'd love to mingle.
when Marshall talks, people will sort of spin it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see everyone when he's talking. But besides that, yeah, we're sort of stuck here.
Right, gotcha.
But yes, we can definitely.
What are you drinking? Ah.
Spain's finest cheap beer.
I have
big on the craft beer.
somewhat cheap beer.
Oh, nice.
Actually, somebody gave us cider, and it was like they're like, we have cider.
We have cedar. It's like, what the fuck?
So is it starting soon?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I'll be back, I swear.
Okay.
May mood you for a little bit.
Where's Simon watching? Where are you watching?
Techno man today.
I am.
Oh wait.
Oh, wait. Okay, I'll turn them back on.
No.
This one.
This one.
They should. You can talk.
Hi
Now.
guys. It's weird having to like look at you and look over here.
Yeah.
Hey, till we unmuted ourselves. You can't make us stop. Hi.
How is Spain?
It's just
Pretty great.
nice here.
Pretty great. I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, it's chilly here today and overcast.
Okay,
I
so
think
it is
that's pretty
overcast.
fitting. And yeah, a little breezy. Very un-Texasy, frankly.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
Hey.
yeah,
Hey,
right
Amy.
there.
Oh, yeah, right here. Hey, this is so weird. Hi.
I know.
yeah, it's been.
I was like, oh, I feel like I should
You
look
guys
here.
can
Not
face
here. Yeah.
whatever direction you feel most comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon says hi, by the way.
Someone else is.
Yeah. Simon also says stand on one leg.
and pat your head.
Hear that, Simon?
Is it working just fine for them watching this? Or no?
Well, we're gonna go sit down.
Yeah.
So other people will sit
Yeah.
down.
So people sit down and
Okay.
Yeah.
It's time.
We'll mute ourselves.
We'll mute ourselves.
Okay.
What do you think? Should I give it like a couple minutes and ask people to take their seats?
I think they're doing it right now. I'm following
Is there like, should I use a mic? I guess.
So there's a mic there.
Both of those are.
I think so. Melinda, if we can find Melinda, she might be able to give you a quick. Yes, I'll get Melinda.
Looks like everybody's sort of starting to take their seats. I'll get started in just a minute once I see everybody else kind of making their way.
Take the reserved seats.
Before everybody gets kind of settled in, there's still there's programs on this table over here. So if you didn't get one and you want one, you got a minute to go like grab one. There's also these buttons, kind of a little bit of a in memoriam souvenir for tribute to Ian. And then there's also some cards if you wanted to perform something or say something in tribute to Ian. Just fill one of those out, and there's like a section in you may see it in the program where there'll be just kind of an open mic. You guys can get up and say or do basically whatever you want. One more minute, please. Okay. Hi, friends. Good afternoon. It's really great to see your faces. I just wish it wasn't under these circumstances, obviously. But I do take some sort of good feelings about the idea that I feel like Ian would be really happy to see us all here together. So I guess there is that. And I just want to say that for those of you who can't be here, as all you know, Ian was a very understanding, one of the most understanding people I know, and very compassionate. Would have understood if he couldn't be here, and he'd know that you love him anyway. When Julie asked me to do this, I started seeing all these emails kind of going around and messages about how to plan this, and it was interesting to see that this community that Ian was a part of kind of pulled this all together and kind of approached it like a production, like producing a show and everyone contributing, and it's really beautiful, and it's just nice to see this group effort. And the difference is, I guess, this is real life. It's not make believe, and it's not a fantasy. Nothing can prepare us for something like this. I realize that. I know how much everyone helped to put this together. Has been grieving and struggling with this loss, and it just says so much about the people that love him, and that came together like this. And I just want to thank everyone who has helped to put this together today, and everyone who is sharing their talents and their stories and their thoughts and feelings in tribute to Ian. And I just want to thank all of you guys just for being here, taking time to be with us, to remember and honor our friend Ian. Lastly, I just want to say that it's okay to cry, guys. This is hard and sad, but I want you to also remember that Ian would also want to see us enjoy ourselves. And it's okay to laugh and to smile too. Just remember, it's a celebration of his life. So there was a eulogy that I wanted to read. I'm just going to kind of read half of it, and then we'll let people come up and say some things, and maybe sing some songs, and I'll finish the other half of the eulogy. So on March 10th, 2019, 2019? Yes, sorry. Ian LeClair, the son of Ted and Ruth LeClair, died suddenly at his home in Austin, Texas. He is survived by his father and stepmother, Ted, and Susan LeClair from Canterbury, New Hampshire. He also leaves behind his 3 step-siblings, Brennan Holmes and his wife, Barbara, Megan Holmes and her partner, Eva, and Nathan Holmes. He had 5 nephews and nieces, Ollie, Augie, Tilly, Lucia, and Susan. Ian was born on March 2nd, 1979, at New London Hospital in New Hampshire. He lived his first 5 years in Leinster, New Hampshire, and then moved to Goshen, New Hampshire, to live near his maternal grandparents, Arthur and Betty Nelson. He was also in close contact with his paternal grandparents, Betty and Richard Stacy of Claremont, New Hampshire. Ian spent his elementary school years with his parents, who were very active in their communities. He lived in small rural New Hampshire towns where he was very close to nature and a home surrounded by books, arts, crafts, gardening, many social contacts, and theater, like he is today, or was today. Ian's Aunt Sharon says that although they never had television back in Leinster, they would have movie nights with old films playing on the wall of the big bedroom and popcorn dripping in butter. In Goshen, there was an open door policy. Everyone was welcome to drop by and help themselves to whatever they needed. If no one was home, provided it didn't look like something that was being prepped for dinner that night. There was a big bookshelf on the front porch where anyone could borrow or even keep a book or leave books. No matter when you went over, everyone was always welcome. So Ian learned this incredible hospitality and generosity from a very young age. Ian went to high school in Sunapee, and I'm sorry if I'm like mispronouncing any of these words or names. So feel free to correct me. Soapy, New Hampshire. There, he became part of a new group of friends. They were intellectually inquisitive, scholastically active, and soon identified themselves as the Nerd Herd. Ian was involved in all the school plays, including Fiddler on the Roof, in which he played Tevye. He convinced his theater teacher that he needed to be Tevye, and by all accounts, blew the roof off of the theater. even if it was difficult to find enough people to play the large supporting cast in his small, idyllic New Hampshire town, Ian graduated as the salutatorian of his class. I'm just going to kind of break from there and have some people come up and do some remembrances. So, Julie, if you want to start.
I've been wrestling with whether to read this poem. I've been wrestling with whether to read this poem or not. But it's pretty obvious. When I went back to it, I realized it's really obvious. It's written about romantic loss. However, it's the first thing that popped into my head the moment Sunday night I knew Ian was gone. To know Ian was to love him. He told the best stories and then listened to yours like there was no one else on earth. He had a light up the room smile and an out of this world laugh. Be sure to ask Edie to do her impression of his laugh. At some point tonight, you do not want to. She did it! Ian was an amazing cook who, when asked to bring a dish to a potluck, would bring a 3-course gourmet meal Julia Child would be intimidated by. He loved music and would never miss his friends' band's performances and was always up for hitting a show with you. No matter what you were talking about, conversations with Ian were the absolute best. He loved beer and wine and traveling and his family and his friends, and we loved him. So, I'm going to read the fucking poem. Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. Stop all the clocks. Cut off the telephone. Prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone. Silence the pianos and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin. Let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling in the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows round the white necks to the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. Stars are not wanted now. Put out everyone. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood. For nothing now can ever come to any good. Thank you. We love you, Ian. I'm sorry, I turned it off.
Oh, there we go. I don't have any females. Heather?
My name is Eva, for those who don't know me, and I was in The Unbearables with Ian. Marshall brought me into their lives about 12 years ago, and best years of my life, and Ian was there. And every good memory I have of Austin, Ian was the center of it. So this is particularly hard for our music community. I wrote this song about 10 years ago, and it was Ian's favorite. And anytime I played a show, he would always be cross with me if I didn't play it. So I decided I want to sing it for Ian one more time, and I hope you all enjoy the message. And he really enjoyed it. So. Animal, dear animal, I never meant to step where you slept. You blinded my road. Your eyes spoke of hope, ready to grow. Animal, my animal, I took you with me. I was safe where I'd keep your shady finding ways to bend. You're tired now, but it's enough to mend the ideas from my hands. Animal, sweet animal, please change what you see. Our pockets don't run deep. Don't give it time, that's the way. You've got a life of your own, and it's not there. There is a fever that you can't break, and when I let you go, it's not my hands that'll ache. Take to the clouds and not to this town. Out of my reach, a broken arrow will teach us how we travel in two different speeds in a space too narrow to Animal, free animal, it's getting late and it may be time to go. You're still small, but your eyes, they'll grow to see what you do to me. What you do to me. Animal, animal.
Bill Arnold, please come up and read a verse from Lord of the Rings.
Ian and I go back a little ways. I want to say it was 2002 that I met Ian. During Betty's summer vacation, it was one of the first plays I did in Austin. I want to say it was the second play I did. That's where I met Julie. Karen show had been cast, but Ian did tech for us. And it was shortly thereafter that Ian and I auditioned for a Loaded Gun Theory play, and then Loaded Gun Theory took us in their collective arms, and we became part of that family. I'd like to read a quick remembrance. And then I have some verses I'd like to say. Ian was one of my closest friends, and I will miss him. We shared many common interests. We shared a love of good food and good drink. We enjoyed many a good beer together. We traveled together. We performed together. We lived together for a short time. We enjoyed board games and role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. Last year, Ian and I and other friends of his that are gathered here today wrapped up a quest that had lasted for 6 years. Ian played a paladin knight, which is sort of similar to an Arthurian knight. His name was Dragontos Bolorti. He was often fond of saying it just like that, very loud. And Dragontos was made of the best parts of Ian. He was tall and handsome. He was very well styled with impeccable taste. He was brave, forthright, and steadfast. He always put himself, I should say, he always put others before himself. If you have a chance, ask one of his other comrades, Edie, Travis, Brendan, Michael, Brandon, or Aaron, about the story of Ian and the Goblin Babies. It's a very sweet story. It gets at the heart of just who Dragontos and Ian were. It was an honor to know Ian, to game with him, to have traveled with him. It's hard to imagine rolling dice with him without him ever again. In the spirit of those adventures that we shared together, I would like to read a verse from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Ian and I enjoyed many a talk about the lore of Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings. The characters Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli have just lost their friend and comrade Boromir in battle. They have no time for a proper burial. So they put their friend in a small boat and give his body to the great river Anduin. They send him on his way with these words. For a while, the three companions remained silent, gazing after him. Then Aragorn sang, and he spoke, "They will look for him from the White Tower," he said, "but he will not return from mountain or from sea." Then slowly he began to sing. Through Rohan, over fen and field, where the long grass grows, the west wind comes walking, and about the walls it goes. What news from the west, O wandering wind, do you bring to me tonight? Have you seen Boromir the Tall by moon or by starlight? I have seen him ride over 7 streams, over waters wide and gray. I saw him walk the empty lands until he passed away into the shadows of the north. I saw him then no more. The north wind may have heard the horn of the son of Denethor. O Boromir, from the high walls westward I looked afar. But you come not from the empty lands where no men are. Then Legolas sang, from the mouths of the sea of the south wind flies, from the sand hills and the stones. The wailing of the gulls it bears, and at the gate it moans. What news from the south, O sighing wind, do you bring to me at eve? Where now is Boromir the fair, who tarries in thy grief? Ask not of me where he doth dwell. So many bones there lie on the white shores and the dark shores under the stormy sky. So many have passed down Anduin to find the flowing sea. Ask of the north wind news of them. The north wind sends to me. O Boromir, beyond the gate, the seaward road runs south. But you come not with the wailing gulls from the gray sea's mouth. Then Aragorn sang again, from the gate of the kings, the north wind rides, and the past the roaring falls, and clear and cold about the tower, its loud horn calls. What news from the north, O mighty wind, do you bring to me today? What news of Boromir the Bold, for he is long away. Beneath Amon Hen, I heard his cry. There many foes he fought, his cloven shield, his broken sword, they to the water brought. His head so proud, his face so fair, his limbs they laid to rest, and Rauros, golden Rauros falls for him upon its breast. O Boromir, the tower guard, shall ever northward gaze, to Rauros, golden Rauros falls, till the end of days. Miss you, Ian.
Travis, home. You're gonna sing Gorilla.
Hi everyone, my name's Travis, for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. I've known Ian as long as I've known Bill, back when he auditioned for it, was in Escaping the Goat with Loaded Gun Theory. I never could have known after that what all of us were going to become such a family together. Not just people who hung out and did plays together, but people who just became an integral part of each other's lives. And as we grew and had children, and our lives changed, we all came closer and closer. Ian directed a play that I wrote called I Am Alpha. It was, in short, a play about Boy Scouts gone kind of bad. And I remember him and I talking a lot about our experiences as kids when we were in Scouts, and how we were kind of, not exactly what you'd think of as your typical Boy Scouts. He handled it masterfully. He turned it into something amazing. I'm also part of the same game group that Bill was talking about. And whereas Ian, character, had that noble name, Vergontos Valorte. Say it with me. Vergontos Valorte. I had this slightly less noble name of Stabish. It's basically, I did what I sound like. I stabbed people and I stole things. And Vergontos was always there to let me know that that was not the noble thing to do, but Stabish doesn't listen. So if you know the words to this song and you feel so moved, please, by all means, feel free to sing along. Who knows, I may forget the words. But everyone, you know, someday will die. So sweat out, say all of your goodbyes. Let them know and realize life goes fast. It's hard to make the good things last. You realize someday you'll die. It's just an illusion caused by the world. Spinning you around.
I didn't know what was going to make me cry, but I guess that was it. Marshall. It's not gonna...
He's on his
Oh.
screen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see him earlier. I was like,
We'll take a moment to get him up.
yeah, so I guess while we're taking a moment to get him up.
Here.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Am I here?
You are.
Right here, Marshall and Lindsay.
Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh, there's a lot more people.
No pressure.
Holy wow. Well, that just added a lot more pressure. So, I don't know. I wrote a thing, and my goal is to be able to actually finish. So, please be patient. Lindsay's whispering subtle encouragements into my ear. It's very nice. Thanks, babe. Okay, here goes. So I don't remember exactly when Ian and I became friends first, but I know that it wasn't right away. I met him in our freshman year. I remember that, but it took me some time to settle into Bowdoin and to find my people. But when I finally did, by the beginning of my senior year, I can tell you that Ian is definitely one of them. Sorry. One of the things I remember really fondly from this time was that we would always have these like epically long dinners with our friends, and we would just sit in the dining hall for like hours, just talking about music and art and politics and philosophy, just whatever. We'd sit there long after everyone had finished eating, just talking. And I used to really cherish these dinners and always look forward to them, even though we never really planned them. People would just show up and then spend an entire evening together. We'd just sitting there and talking. This one evening, we were having one of these dinners with somebody who didn't usually eat with us. But since we were all friends with her, we politely asked her to join us and welcomed her to stay and sit. As dinner stretched past the first hour, I could tell that she was starting to get fidgety. By the end of an hour and a half, she was starting to look at her watch, like we used to have those back then. This would have been like 2001, so, you know. And she eventually got tired of waiting for everybody to finish, and she just excused herself because, you know, she had homework to do. In my life, I've encountered quite a large number of people, a large number of that sort of person. And while I really, really admire the go-getters and the high achievers and the people who don't let a little thing like dinner time get in the way of their goals in life, I have to admit that I'm really glad that Ian was never like that. I know you could always count on him to get done whatever needed to get done. For him, it was never about accomplishing things for their own sake. You accomplished things so that you could enjoy them. When it came to spending time with a friend, he was never in a hurry. He never cut a conversation short so he could go do something else that was important. and he always had more time to give. And the thing about Ian was that he always knew how to have a good time. And I remember a lot of good times with him. After we graduated, he and I and 3 other friends moved into a house together for the summer. We were the last of our friends to have basically no plans post-graduation. Everyone else had headed off to graduate school or gone home or gotten a job or at least figured something out. I tried to become a freelance writer, and Ian got a job at the Brunswick Diner, but most of the time we did what we always did, which is just hung out on the porch, talking about life, politics, and philosophy, and just generally enjoying ourselves. At the end of that summer, we made the decision to move to Austin. Not because we had any particular reason to go there, because it seemed like it would be as good a place as any to get a start in life. And though Ian had been a good friend before that, it was the time we spent in Austin that really brought us together. Sitting here in Barcelona, a good 17 years almost removed from that decision, it's really remarkable how intertwined our lives became after we got there. I was 22 when I arrived in Austin, utterly freaked out and terrified of what life would be like without the comforting structure of school. And out of that, I built a life that now includes a beautiful wife and a child, and another on the way, a career and a calling as an educator, a couple of pretty good records, and a lot of really, really good friends. And I don't think I could have done any of that without Ian. He was there every step of the way, encouraging and supporting me, tolerating my immaturity, most of all, being kind, being so, so kind. I'd always imagined that he and I would keep hanging out. That we'd someday be 2 old dudes sitting on a porch somewhere, talking about life, art, politics, and philosophy. We'd marvel at all the children we saw grow up, and how we managed to get old, and how much the world changed since we first decided to try becoming adults together after graduation. I'd always imagined that there'd be at least a few more parties at his place, great meals out together, great meals in, and maybe someday I'd get to be the best man at his wedding or civil union ceremony, whatever he decided was right. That I'd have some opportunity to do for him all the wonderful things he's done for me. And that I get to give a toast very much like this one, except he'd be able to hear it. And that he'd be there as my sons grew into men, and that he'd help me teach them to be the kind of man he was. Humble and kind, and caring and loving, and always there for the people in his life. I'm going to have to let go of all that now, and it makes me terribly sad that none of this will ever happen. I also hate that I'll have to go through the next however much time I have left and never again be able to send him a text message when I want a recipe suggestion, or someone to share some music I made with, or just someone to talk to until well past sundown about whatever comes to mind. This past week, I've sometimes been able to get to the place where I can look back at these last 20 years and just feel a sense of gratitude for getting the time I got to spend with him. I've been looking at Facebook and sometimes marveling that there are all these people I know who didn't even get to know him a little, who never got to eat one of his dinners, or hear him say that this or that is a very nice cheese. Or see him walk up to you from a block away with that like really characteristic gait that he has, you know, like long stride, where he holds his hands, palms open while swinging his arms. And so you can tell that it's him, even if you can't quite make out his face. And you get to have that moment of joy of knowing that you're about to spend some time with a very, very good friend. That maybe you'll be able to have one of those epic evenings where you talk about everything and you never, ever want it to end. As sad as I am for the loss of not getting to spend any more time with him, how much sadder for all those other people who didn't get to know him. They don't even know what they're missing. And even as I'm heartbroken at his loss, I know that I'm lucky to have gotten as much as I have for as long as I have. I'm going to try to hold that feeling close as much as I can. Thank you, universe, for bringing this man into my life. Thank you for bringing him so close to me. All I want you to know is that I'm going to miss him terribly. And that's it. I made it.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tim, for making it so I could be here. Tim and Jeff. I really appreciate being able to see you all, even though I can't physically touch you. That sounds weird. Sorry. I hope you know what I mean.
I didn't get to hug you earlier, by the way.
Hello, for those who don't know me, I'm Jeff. Ian was one of the best men I could ever hope to know. He was by me, my side for some of the most important days of my life. And I couldn't think of a single memory to sum up the friendship I had with him. So instead I decided any commemoration of Ian would be incomplete without some French poetry. So we're going to try this en français for Ian. Ian, if you can hear me, I apologize. My terrible, terrible French. This is what a few semesters. This is a piece by Baudelaire. It speaks of the spirit transcending the mundane, but I think more important than that to me, it speaks of the ecstasy of creative expression and the hope that in that heightened state, you can learn more about the world around you and see what's beyond. This is Elevation. Au-dessous des étangs, au-dessous des vallées, des montagnes, des bois, des nuages de mer, au-delà du soleil, au-delà des éthers, au-delà des confins de ces appelés. Mon esprit, tout est mot avec agilité. Et comme un bon légère qui se prend dans tout silence qui se veut et mêle volupté. Envole-toi bien loin des miasmes morbides. Vas-tu purifier dans l'âge supérieur et boire comme un pur et divin liqueur le folklore qui remplit les espaces limpides. Derrière les ennuis et le vaste chagrin, qui chargeant de le faire leurs existences brumeuses. Pero c'est le qui prend en aile vigoureuse de lancer votre relâchante luminée et sereine. De lui dans la pensée, comme la alouette, vers la ciel, le matin tournait long, un libre sort, qui plane sur la vie et comprend sans auteur the language de flowers et de choses muettes. And in English for the rest of us. Above the ponds, above the valleys, mountains, woods, clouds, and seas, far beyond the sun, beyond the heavens, beyond the confines of the starry spheres. My spirit, you roam with agility, and like a strong swimmer bracing the waves, you soar happily into profound immensity with exquisite virile delight. Fly far away from these noxious surroundings and clench yourself in the clear air above and drink the clear fire which fills lucid spaces as you would some divine liqueur. Beyond the nuisances and the vast chagrins, amassing with their weight our bewildered existence, happy is he who can with vigorous swing propel toward the luminous and serene realms. He whose thoughts, like larks, free in the morning take flight, hover over life, and understand without effort the language of flowers and of silent things. Thank you.
Harrison, the song you want to perform?
I'm not going to play a song.
No, okay. You want to fight?
Actually, yeah, not sure. It'll all be in French.
We hired this MC. Yeah, with a mic. Here, I'll play.
Can everyone hear me if I just talk like this? Yeah.
Rope.
Maybe I should use it.
Okay, I'll.
Yeah.
Elliot, can you sit with me? Sit in the front row. Here.
Thank you.
We weren't sure either.
So I was going to play a song last night, or I was going to play a song today, but I realized that last night that I've been writing something to say all week, and it's just I keep going over in my head all of the memories from the last 15 years. And he was a key part of the most life-changing events of both of our lives. So for the past 15 years, he's had three constants: his kindness, his willingness to entertain any curiosity, his passion for all the creative endeavors, the ones that he did, the ones that we did.
So in the early 2000s, my friend Harrison wanted me to meet these two guys.
We were strictly friends.
Yeah, it's no story. He wanted me to meet these two guys he was going to start a band with. So one Saturday night, we went over to their duplex. And outside, I first met this young guy named Marshall, and he walked us inside. And the first thing I noticed in the living room was this large bear costume. And it was in the process of being made. And Anne, standing in the kitchen, goes, yeah, in a calm little chuckle, I'm going to wear them on stage. And the Unbearables were born.
So I feel like it's my duty to talk about the bear suit. That Ian had a love-hate relationship with the bear suit, and he loved the idea of it, and I think he loved being the guy in the bear suit during the on stage. But that's where it ended because it was hot and it stank. It was not something to wear like while jumping around in a dive bar, but on a regular basis. And I had this image of Ian being led on stage by Angie because he made the bear suit pretty well, but the eye holes were not perfect at all. And so fur was covering around the eye holes, and he just had to be guided up on stage. And he was blind throughout the whole show, but everyone was watching him. And I remember the relief on his face when he'd removed the bear head, his glowing red cheeks, his happiness, probably that he's done. But he endured the bear suit.
I think we'll always remember a vision of Ian sitting in the back of trophies outside, dripping with sweat, with a bear head off, smoking a cigarette and laughing and having conversation.
And the bear suit was damaged in a car accident, and I think it could have been purposeful. I don't know. But without the bear suit, he found a different voice in the Unbearables, and he switched personas from a fun-loving bear to a fun-loving drunk crooner. And it was an astounding character study. unpredictable, and he was wild, and he was fun. He was like, you didn't know whether he was going to just stumble over. Like he seemed so drunk, yet he was so able to control it. And it was, yeah, it was amazing. And he played the character perfectly. And during those first years, we took an inadvisedly long tour. I would say it was like a month and a half. Marshall probably knows better. And in a really cramped van that smelled like the inside of a bear costume. And you can learn a lot about a person while you're on tour because you're with them 24 hours a day, and they're all you really know. And I know that he kept poorly booked shows and hours of driving, sleeping on. This was what Ian was. He was able to adapt to anything and be kind while doing it.
So we knew Ian as a rock star. But Ian had his second life in theater. And around the third year of The Unbearables. Yeah. We were like, oh, our memory. Ian brought together the two lives of his two lives into this ridiculous, overly ambitious, and fantastic Bitten, a zombie rock opera odyssey. When Ian asked me to be a cast member, I was honored and excited to be a part of it. And the experience of making Bitten I just watched it this morning anyway, would instigate a domino effect that would alter our lives. Wonderful dear friends were forged. The Unbearables went from a 4-piece garage band to a 9-piece orchestral pop band. Other bands and projects were created, and networks of wonderful relationships will ever be connected, all because of Ian.
If it weren't for Ian taking a risk by introducing his two lives to each other, we would never have spent countless New Year's Eves at this house. But Amber, Rebecca, and Heather would never have joined the Unbearables. They would have never become friends. Introduced us to Mark and Melinda and Teresa. All of these connections came from that experience, and that experience came from Ian.
We even thought of making a flow chart. That's how everyone met everyone. It was Ian's dedication and love of music and theater that made all of these beautiful things in our lives. Ian was so humble that he would never have admitted he was the driver of a life-changing event for countless people. But he was, no question. We are forever made better because he was in our lives.
He not only poured all he could into his art, but he supported all of us in ours. During the Unbearables, I started playing songs I'd recorded at home for people, and he was so positive about it that I felt when I played him that I basically pursued the project, and I wouldn't have started a band that led to meeting so many other people in my life if it weren't for his encouragement. And he supported us for years. He would come out all the time to every show, even when he had to work in the morning. He would screen print T-shirts. He would listen to my crappy half recordings of like half-finished songs in my car. And while I was so enthusiastic, and then it was not a good song. But he would endure all of this because he loved the creativity of all of us. One of the greatest loves of my life has been the music I've gotten to take part in creating, and almost none of that music would have come if it weren't for Ian's passion, his talent, his support, and his love.
Thank you guys very much.
It's really comforting. I think we want it.
Hey Tim, did you want to come up and give a remembrance? Tim Thomas, right?
We do have people on the internet today, so I'm trying to be more mic. so I've just been having a lot of trouble with words this week. I've not known Ian for nearly long enough. We got to know Ian through theater, and there were many memorable roles for me. My favorite was Sarah Saltwick's What's Love Got to Do with It, in which he played a very, very intense power walker who was training for the Olympics. And, you know, it was just pretty much the most Ian thing. You know, people kept telling him no in that script, that he wasn't going to make it, and, you know, he didn't really care. And then he also played a grandpa in that scene and explained to two teenagers about, you know, sort of how life worked and what marriage was, and somehow that was also Ian. He just understood things. But for me, it was the quiet moments, the hours spent building sets, putting the final touches on Friendsgiving dinner, our writing round robins where we'd hand off scripts to build on each other's work. Ian was in many ways our soul. Where most of Loaded Gun Theory tended towards a laugh, he was frequently sincere. He loved our animals and later our kids. We had a Chihuahua Dachshund mix named Lucy, and for the first 3 to 4 years she knew Ian, she would give him just the hardest time. He'd enter the house and she'd just bark and bark and bark and bark for 4 years. He was incredibly patient. Then one day, she climbed into his lap, and from then on, if he was sitting down, you would almost always find Lucy curled up with him. The past 2 years, we've been working pretty much weekly on a web application, and we launched it. Ian was always interested in learning new things and improving himself, but we have more work scheduled. I think as your kids grow up, there comes a point where you realize they're not going to be in your house forever, and you start trying to figure out what life is going to be like. All of those dreams I had involved spending time with Ian. I'm so thankful for my best friend and feel very lost without sensible advice to guide me. Thank you, Ian. I love you. Amanda Walker. Oh, okay. No problem. I think, yeah, Aaron. I'm assuming you don't do that. I might. Yeah. You can hold it for you. I was like, okay, hold it for you. I would be honored and happy to hold it for you. Hold it for you, it's fine.
Considering it, just because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make it through this one. Do you just feel weird with me holding it? I have a servant's heart. I want to.
I don't even know Andy's there.
Yeah.
No, he definitely wants
I'll be behind you.
Yeah, we look alike too. Really well.
So I have known, I knew Ian, I met Ian a few years after the rest of the Loaded Gun Theory people. But quickly became apparent that he was who he was. And everybody in our group and all of Ian's friends fostered an uncommon friendship. I tell people about the things that we've done together, but they don't get it. They don't understand. They don't have friends like that necessarily. And I felt very blessed and just unbelievably fortunate to have these friends
one thing that I always just loved about Ian, and it was incredibly inspirational to me, was his love of creating and making art, music, and it's something that I've struggled with, and I could always look to people to help me with these things, and Ian was one of those people. And so I'm way out of practice. I picked this song mostly because it's the best one I can play, but I also feel like it's a great way to honor Ian. So I'm going to try and get through it. If you know the words, please help me. And let's do this thing. You don't have to. It's fine. Okay.
I'll sing along.
Okay. I've heard there was a cold that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor falls and the major lifts, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Faith was strong, but you needed proof. Saw her bathing on the roof, beauty in the moonlight, open through ya. She tied you in the kitchen. She cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. But baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew ya. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch, and love is not some victory march. It's a cold and broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. There was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, but never show that to me, do ya? But remember when I moved in you and I hoped you too, and every breath we drew was hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to someone who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
I think we actually had a couple of, what's that? Oh yeah, sorry, Andrew Lyons. I was thinking we had a couple other people that added on, but we should, Andrew's next. Hello everyone, I'm Andrew. I guess I should start with how I knew Ian. So we actually met on this app called Scruff, which, for those who don't know, is a app for gay men who like hairy gay men. And then later we met on OkCupid, and it took me like I think over a month to put together that I was talking to the same person. And once I did, I remember him saying, well, I guess if we're talking this much, we should meet. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. So that was back in 2013. So I was thinking about Ian and our relationship and how we related to each other. And I couldn't think that I could sit or stand, whatever, in front of all of you and read something without falling apart. And then I was looking at his profile on OkCupid, and I read his self-summary, which I don't think has changed since I read it first time, and I was like, this is so perfect. So I'm going to read you guys his self-summary. Here we go. If I read one more of these things that starts with someone talking about how laid back, easygoing, or down to earth they are, I'm going to scream. Also, I've decided that being normal and simple just won't do. I'm working towards being complicated and weird as fuck. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty even-keeled most of the time. And I want to reclaim the word nice. It's a good thing, okay? But there are also times to be passionate and emotional and moody. Times to get caught up in dreams, and times to be relentlessly practical. And maybe times to be artsy, intellectual, pretentious, sarcastic, kinky, or thoughtful, or all of those rolled up into one. Other things I think about: craft beer, cardigans, local theater, world cuisine, boutique liquor, non-baggy jeans, thoughtful conversation, NPR, long walks, and dark chocolate. And I couldn't think of anything more that summed him up and showed how funny he was. So I just wanted to share all of that with you, and hope to get to talk to more of you later. That was great. I do think that summed him up pretty well. So thanks for sharing, Andy. I don't know, do we want to go ahead and just do the couple of the people who added cards, or should we do our kind of like, well, or like we talked about doing a kind of like a, oh, yeah.
the moment of reflection.
Oh, okay.
Do we want to do that now, or do you guys want to? Yeah, okay. I think Rebecca. Yeah, come up and give us your remembrance.
Okay. My name is Rebecca. I used to live with Ian, and I was also in the Unbearables with him. I actually am not coming today with my own remembrance of him. I couldn't think of anything to write. But I have two other people. Oh, is this better? That's way better. Sorry, I'm not used to this very much anymore. I had a couple of people who came to me who weren't able to come to the service today who wanted me to read something on their behalf. So I'm going to. The first person is Patricia, who is a minister that Ian was familiar with. My tribute to Ian by his friend Patricia. Ian came into my life as a team partner for Robert Gonzalez. Robert had been his friend for quite a long time, and Ian had been a faithful and honest buddy through all the difficult moments Robert was forced to live in his young life. It was Ian's big heart that never placed judgment on anyone or in any situation. Yet his heart kept the balance with the wisdom, logic, and experience to make him be the person most sought out to be near or to heed wise counsel from. In our many discussions concerning how to make Robert succeed in life, his pauses to ponder always provided to be some motivational factor for me. Somehow, either his own personal experiences in life or his keen sense of observing life in others, or either of those things, he had the plan and the strategy that would work. Together we worked as a team, and as that team, we shared in constant dialogue of the appropriate words to choose to communicate with Robert and those in authority. Ian knew Robert's personality and predictability well. I had the tough love to match, which made us together full strength in the area of giving wise counsel. I found great joy in being on Ian's team. We often laugh at our differences in styles and choices in life, while at the same time those differences opened up new avenues for both of us to grow. He was a comforter, one who put others at ease, and a comfortable person to be around, and offered freely explanations of all I'd even ask my questions. He allowed me to grow through our discussions, while at the same time, he had his own questions of faith for me. And I would like to think that he gleaned a glimpse of God's love and goodness in our relationship. I give thanks for knowing Ian this short time. Time cannot account for the strong impact he will continue to have on my life and in the future. His imprint will forever be a flower that grows and blossoms within my thoughts of living a full life of acceptance and joy. He focused on the potential in all people and all life, and I'll continue to focus and have that focus in his honor. I dedicate these words to his honor as my friend, Patricia G. Warden. Thank you, Patricia. I'm hoping you're able to see a tape of this. And also Robert sent me just some brief words to read on his behalf. Ian, I miss you so much. I cannot believe you are gone. I will never forget the happy and sad memories we shared together. You always guided me in the right direction. Even though I didn't always listen to you. You're always there for me no matter what. You're all I had, and I truly am feeling lost and confused without you. You always had the answers. I miss you so much, and I'm so grateful for all the help that you gave me. Goodbye, friend. I miss you with all my heart. Thank you very much.
Teresa?
It's really, sorry, kind of strange to hold this mic. It's usually Mona and I are singing karaoke through it. Right. Met Ian in, I think it was 2008, is when we met him. We met him through Rebecca, formerly known as Becky, back in the day. Never, no, don't call her that. Because we were roommates with staff who worked with Rebecca. And Rebecca introduced us to Aaron and Ian and the whole gang. And it's only been a short time. I was trying to think, it feels like Ian's always been in our life because he's just that kind of person that you always want to be in your life. I was at dinner with Ian about a month ago, and somebody had brought vodka, so I got a little tipsy, and ended up hugging Ian and just telling him how wonderful he was and gushing about him. And if you remember, Ian, he's very humble and got a little upset about that. So of course I went home and I was mortified. And I was like, Melinda, what did I do? I'm so embarrassed. So I texted him. I said, I am so sorry. And in typical Ian fashion, he texted back 3 days later. Of course, he's a guy after all. Don't worry about it. You know, he was so sweet and positive and kind. And I know everybody else has talked about how he would listen to you. And that was very true. He always made you feel like you were the most important person in the room, even if there was 100 other people in the room. And he was very lovable. He was a very huggable person, and I was always trying to hug him. I think when he and I first met that we kind of clashed a little bit, because I can be very loud and brash sometimes. And he is very dignified always. But I feel so blessed that I got to drunkenly tell him that I loved him so much. You know, people know you really mean it. And I was really just so happy that I got to spend his birthday with him on the weekend before he passed. I don't know where the bear socks are that we got him, but hopefully he at least got to wear them once before. But I'm just rambling at this point. I'm so sorry. I just miss Ian a lot. It's been a tough week, and he's left a really, really big hole. To try to fill it with love and affection that we have for each other. We're a very lucky group of people to have had someone like Ian in our lives. Teach us kindness and compassion. Teach us beauty of being quiet sometimes. And the beauty of a really delicious home-cooked meal. That is something truly special that he did to many of us. Thank you. Ian, I miss you.
So, Marshall informed us, since anybody who's trying to read, they can actually hear you better without the microphone. So if you can project, they can hear you better. But if you need the microphone, it's still here for you. But I thought maybe at this time we could just take a moment in silence, just kind of reflect, think about Ian, your favorite memory or whatever. Thank you. Anna and Agatha, I don't know if you guys want to come up and do your song.
I'm going to try to say a little something. And even though Agatha's going to do all the singing today, here I've known my whole life. And I'm fortunate that Loaded Gun Theory co-opted me a long time ago, even though I really have no idea what I'm doing in a theater. And I'm so lucky that I met Ian through that extended LGT family. And I've always felt so fortunate to be an only child, like Ian was, and like Eric and Travis, and to have this family. And the thing about Ian, aside from everything that everyone's said already, is that, you know, he was someone who loved beauty. He made so many beautiful things all together in Loaded Gun Theory. And so we wanted to share something beautiful today. We're going to play Sure on This Shining Night by Samuel Martin.
On this shining night of sonnets kindness must watch for me inside the crowd.
So at this point, if there's anybody else who just would like to come up and say something, you just something strikes you, you wanted to share a story or remembrance of some sort or a song, it's mic is open. Do you want a microphone or no?
Can you hear me?
Sound like you could project.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Ted. And if I can get through. Since my wife Susan and I have gotten here, all we have felt is love. So I wanted to thank everybody. We've gotten here, we haven't had to worry about food, place to stay, rides, drive. Really appreciate that. Everywhere we turn. Where we wanted you to go. Where we want you to go. Boston soon after Susan and I got married. And I never questioned him about it. I just assumed he had some kind of plan. And I was busy with other stuff myself. Yeah, so that every holiday I would try to have him come up to New Hampshire and stay with us for a while, somewhere around the holiday season. For those of you who are familiar with northern New England, holiday season is difficult. Just with the fact that there's cold, snow, sleet, airplane cancellations, all kinds of stuff. One time I had to meet Ian at Worcester Airport, and I waited for his flight to come in, and I got a call saying, "You need to go to Boston." 3 hours later, just about midnight, Ian shows up at home. Come home. The year after that, Ian came up. We were in fine. The day that Ian was supposed to leave, we had 1.5 foot of snow. And Ian was insisting that he needed to get to the airport, and we're saying, "No, we don't think you do." And finally, Susan convinced him he better call the airport and tell him he's not coming. And soon after that, the airport called him and said, "No, you don't need to come. There's no flight to come to." So anyway, what happened was that Ian and I talked about it and said, "Why don't you come to New Hampshire better season?" And we decided that spring, summer, fall were all really good seasons. He was very pleased with that because he said, "In August, New Hampshire is up. That's the time I'd like to be away from August." So we set up a thing. Ian came up in the summertime, and he stayed here for the holiday season. And as a parent, I wanted Ian to be happy and glad for what he was doing. And I soon realized that one of the things Ian had done was to create a family. So I felt happy. Anyway, I knew that you had people to be good. Go on Facebook and see the faces of what a parent wants. I wanted to share a few things with you about an Ian who may not have known. He was young. Ian was a surprise. Without the movie Saturday Night Fever, Ian probably would He wasn't really intended, but if you saw the post I made on his Facebook page when he had his birthday, I indicated that it was one of the best days of my life. Ian was a challenge as a parent. And I remember he was about 4. Right. Ian grew up in a small town. And I was a teacher. Ian's mother was a librarian. We didn't have a television. raised a lot of our own food, and we were very close to nature. These are all things that went into being Ian. One of the things that also was part of it is that Ian's mother and I were part of a theater group. And when Ian was about 4, we decided he really ought to go see a play in a theater. And so there was a summer theater production of Fiddler on the Roof. And we took Ian over, and we got there early because this is the first, and we want him to get settled in. And we had seats up in the balcony, and Ian looked all around, and we had constant questions. What's this? What's that? And he was talking and talking and talking. And people are coming in, and they're getting nervous because here's this little boy making all kinds of noise. They want to see the play. And the lights went down, the curtain was open, the lights came up, and Ian was mesmerized. Not another word. And I felt like I had given Ian a magic carpet, because it was a way for him to go on. Next year, he started dramatic lessons, and as you know, he never finished. So, another part of what was important to us, for the teacher and librarian as parents, you read. If you don't have television to look at. And when Ian went to first grade, one of my positions in town was I was on the school board. Anyway, Ian was a first grader, and I kind of follow how he was doing in school, and I began to kind of get concerned. And I finally went in to see the teacher, and I said, I'm not sure Ian is reading. And she looked at me like I had maybe 2 heads and said, Ian is my best reader. I said, oh, okay. And I went home and discussed it with Ian. One of the things that we had done is I would read women whenever I could. We went through all kinds of books, and we were about halfway through the Narnia series. I said, I know you can read now, and you have permission to go ahead without me. Which is, I think, something all parents should do. Because when they can do it, let them. And we would still have times together, and occasionally we would read things. But he took off. He went to Narnia, he went to Middle Earth, he went to all kinds of. And if you've seen where Ian lives, you can still see books. There's all kinds of books there. A couple years after that, I'm trying to be a good parent and deal with my kid, and I decided to take him to a baseball. I like baseball. I'm not a fanatic, but I follow it and I enjoy it. And I took Ian and a friend of ours, and we went down to see the Red Sox. And he was excited, and we had hot dogs, and we were in the park, and he's looking all around, and they play the national anthem, and everybody gets up and sing the flag, and then they sit down and the game starts. And Ian looks at me and says, when are they going to be quiet? It's about then I knew it was really enforced. I didn't have a normal job. My life was going to be filled with these kinds of things. And it was. It was some things that we really enjoyed. When Ian was in high school, his mother came down with cancer. She had very serious kind of breast cancer, and we spent during his high school years. There was a year and a half where she was going through chemo. She'd end up in the hospital. I would try to make sure I was following what Ian was doing in school, but also keeping up with what was happening with his mother. And I'm sure it affected Ian quite a bit. One of the things that I know was happening was that he was becoming more independent. He was beginning to take over. And in his senior year, his mother's cancer went into remission. And she worked as a librarian, and part of the time she worked at the Sunapee High School library where Ian was going to school. She went in to work one day and went into the teacher's room and could hear somebody talking on the phone, setting up some kind of meeting. And then she realized it's Ian, which is kind of strange. He's in the teacher's room. But at that point, he'd been in Sunapee High 4 years, and they considered he was like a colleague. Anyway, he says, "What's that all about?" He says, "Oh, I've applied to go to France next year." And she said, "When were you going to tell us?" "Pretty soon." Like, we have an appointment next week for an interview. I said, and Ian's mother comes back and tells me all about it. He said, "Okay, that's good. I had one condition." I said, "You have to be entered into college before you go." So I said, "I want you to have a definite place you're coming back to." And we worked that out. But we went to the interview. We pulled into the London library where the interview was held. And beside us, somebody is getting out of their cars. We're getting out of our car. And the woman comes over, gives Ian a big hug and a kiss, and says how nice it is to see him. And she's one of the interviewers. And then we go into the library, and the librarian comes over and gives Ian a big hug and a big kiss. And she's one of the interviewers. I'm thinking, we've got this interview. This really isn't an interview. They're interviewing us, not him. And basically it was, are you going to be okay with Ian going for a year? And I said, yes, of course. And at that point, we realized Ian was kind of on his own, moving along. We went voting, did well, has a lot of friends, and as Marshall was telling you, you guys decided that Austin was a good place to go. And I was very happy that this year. In going through things recently to try to sort through everything Ian left, Ian was an accumulator. Not badly, but there's a lot of stuff that we're looking through. We're trying having to do with for probate. I had a lawyer in the process. One of the things they want to know is the finances. So we're going through all of Ian's financial papers. And he had gaps of bills from like 2010, 2011, 2010. And you know, why has he saved these? And also, a large proportion of them are open. Thinking if it were me, that would bother me. But I knew what this was about Ian. Probably, as you understand, because I introduced that you know Ian very well, Ian was not motivated by the same things that people traditionally are for defining success. Money was not one of those things. So I realized Ian just knew what the bill was, and he paid it when he got ready. And it wasn't a case of him avoiding paying, he would pay. I mean, Ian was lawful good. He was going to do it. He just was going to do it on his own schedule. And I think, and listening to all of you and your emotion, and to me, this is a success. Very happy, even though I stuck around. So, thank you all very much.
Okay. So is anybody else going to talk about Ian's sadness? I actually had one or two, but now I sort of don't. So I kind of just want to leave it with that. I honestly did not know Ian super well. And I'm not going to try to pretend that I did, but I've known him for a number of years. I actually auditioned for him for I Am Alpha, and it was actually the first show that I ever auditioned for. But I did eventually do a show with Loaded Gun Theory, and I've continued to do shows with them and Slapdash, and became friends with all of them, and with Ian. And the thing about Ian is that I was trying to explain this to my wife the other night, and it's like, I guess it's a thing of like quality time over quantity. And I didn't see Ian every week, but over the number of years, I've seen Ian and always had quality time with him. And what I was trying to explain to my wife is that when you do theater, it's like kind of similar to like what Harrison, you were talking about being on the road. It's like you're in this for like a month and a half or 2 months or whatever. You're spending all this time together, several nights a week for hours in a very kind of intimate way, in a vulnerable way, and putting yourself on stage, and you get to know people in a kind of like an accelerated way, I guess. For those of you who don't do theater, don't know what I'm talking about. So obviously, I still have a lot of feelings and love for Ian, even though I'm unfortunately and regretfully a person who can say I had not seen Ian in quite some time, and I really regret that. I regret that there's a lot of you I haven't seen in a long time, and I don't want to make this not about me, but the thing I wanted to say about Ian is that Ian had this like innate quality of making you feel important and making you feel like what you said or what you had to give had value, and just always felt like anytime I was doing anything with Loaded Gun Theories, he'd always take time to be like, I think he was genuinely interested in what I had to say and thought that it was like I said, like I was giving value. And maybe sometimes I wasn't, but he still believed, and he still made me feel like I mattered. And I always loved that about him. So that is one thing for sure. I'll definitely. That's all I wanted to say. Does anybody else? Yes, please, please.
Well, I think the power of Ian is that he has created his own South by Southwest event. Yes. Think about it. People come from all over. There's interactive. There's music, and there's an incredible exchange of ideas. So, Ian, thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Since you brought up South by Southwest, I figured it was my place to stand up and say something. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lori. I did not have anything written down or rehearsed or any song to share. But this whole week, I could hear his voice. Clearly, I could hear him laughing at me. And he did. He knew how, and he had a great time doing it. And I would laugh with him. I feel triply blessed because I met Ian through so many different creative worlds. I got to know him through theater, obviously through Loaded Gun Theory, and they are my family, as I explained to my parents recently. And they know this, and they could hear the love in my voice as I said it. But I also got to know Ian through music. Marshall. I very proudly fell in love with and shared the music of the Unbearables when I first got the chance to hear them. My band also played a show with his band. I obsessed over the songs, kept playing them over and over again. I even got in trouble during my show late one night because I kept playing the Unbearables. I have a radio, and I would shamelessly promote it. I even interviewed the entire band for a segment that I used to produce back in the day, and I can hear him laughing. They had funny stories to tell, like the time they almost weren't allowed into Canada. Recently, Lindsay shared a video that I used to be mortified with, but I love it now. We were drunk, and we were dancing. Ian LeClair was dancing. And that was one of the finest moments I had ever experienced in my life. With my Loaded Gun Theory family, every production was magical. Every single one. I would flub my lines, and he didn't mind. He always had words of encouragement, every single damn time. Being a fellow nerd, a fellow geek, I waved that flag high. It was wonderful to have these conversations. We'd nerd out together. My loved ones here know that you could nerd out with Ian for hours. The sun would come up, and you would still be having that wonderful discussion that branched into so many different discussions that kept going on through emails or text messages. He was poetry to me. He always had a kind, supportive word. I had very low moments, and that sweet, sweet voice would come in, and I'd just get picked right up. And like Andy, I had my regrets. I did not see him enough. The times that I did were those quality times, those beautiful moments, those holidays. Thanksgiving shall never be the same without that food. But the memories and the power and the music, especially the music. And if I can just end with this. The Monday following the horrible news that we received, I had to do my show. My bosses kept asking me, are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Because you are really not in very good shape right now. It takes a lot for them to say that. But I did it. And I'd have to turn off my microphone. But I did it. And recently I had contacted Tim with a pair of tickets to a show, and Tim said, no, Lori, I'm afraid Julie and I can't accept this right now. You know who would like this? Ian. You should give these tickets to Ian. And I texted him, as I always could. Time had passed, and he acted like he didn't know. Ian, would you like these tickets? They are yours if you want them. He said, my God, boy, this sounds lovely. Yes, I'll take them. And I was quite pleased. I was so excited. I had even forgotten about his birthday. And I said, Ian, you know what I'll do? I'll drive to the house and I'll drop them off. I can drop them off for you. It's not a problem. And he said, Lori, I already feel like a winner. That was the last time I had the chance to chat with him, really. The way he would say thank you is immeasurable. The way he would show affection, and I know he wasn't always huggy, touchy-feely, I know that, but he showed it. My life changed when I met my Loaded Gun Theory family, and he was a huge part of that. My life changed with the Unbearables. And he knew that. And Marshall, I still play that damn CD like nobody's business. I just might do that on Monday, because I was off by the music still goes on. That is a reminder I have for everyone every year. You know what? The festival is over, but the music continues in our fair city. And I feel that way about Ian. The music is going to continue. And when I hear the Unbearables or when I hear something that he liked, he's there. Always will.
Anybody else? Free. Anything that's in your heart. I'll say one more real quick thing, just in case maybe it gives somebody else another opportunity. I always felt like Ian was like a Renaissance man. Like he could do anything and everything. I don't know. I just thought that was like always cool. That like he was well read. He was fashionable. He was super smart and philosophical. And, I mean, like he was an artist. He was a musician. He did theater. He did everything in the theater. Like there was nothing that he. I feel like there's nothing he couldn't. And I admire him. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I'll read his eulogy. I'll read Ian spent a year in France, as I mentioned, as part of the Rotary's International Student Exchange. He lived with a very supportive French family in Lyon, France, but also found his time very challenging as he quickly discovered that 4 years of high school French hadn't left him actually able to speak French. As often is the case, they quit he also grappled with going from living in a town of 1,000 people to living in a city of 500,000. And sadly, this was during the time that he found that his mother's breast cancer return and spread. Despite all these challenges in typical Ian fashion, he persevered. He became fluent in French, explored a city with over 2,000 years of history, and developed a broader appreciation for the culture that was around him. Art museums, a range of music, theater, and all the wonders of the province region. Ian returned home, enrolled in Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine, majored in philosophy and a minor in theater. He was very involved in theater programs at Bowdoin, had parts in various plays such as Evita, Pippin, and Cherry Orchard. He was active in the Mask and Gown Society. His junior year, Ian went to London to study in the British American Drama Academy. Partway through his college experience, Ian lost his home. Towards the end of Ian's Bowdoin career, he became a member of the bigger family. Ian's father, Ted, married Susan, so that now he had a stepmother and 3 new siblings. It didn't take long for Ian, Brennan, Megan, and Nathan to realize that they had a number of shared interests. He also developed a close relationship with his new stepmother. After graduating from Bowdoin, Ian returned home briefly and decided to move to Austin, Texas. In November 2002, his best friend Marshall was coming in. And as Marshall puts it, it would be fair to say that he moved to Austin to seek his fortune, and instead found a lot of really. Ian had his variety of jobs while living in Austin. He worked at is it Cheesy's? Cece's. Okay. I don't remember that place.
Not there anymore.
Yeah. Ecstatic Cuisine, Supermarket, Stitch Fix. Wherever he worked, he became indispensable to his bosses. However, Ian was always much more than what he did to make a living. He was bare in the music group, The Unbearables. He was very active in the theater group, Rose Gun Theory, doing a range of things from acting, directing, writing, and backstage work. He was an incredible cook, music lover, and so much more. Through contacts such as these, Ian became part of a wonderful group of friends that were his Austin family. It was through all these experiences, Ian became the man that he was. Kind, loving, wise, empathetic, playful, companionable, supportive, generous, patient, good humor. I'll add compassion. He will be missed. The gap left by Ian's passing will never be truly filled. But as with all life-changing events, this will inspire many of us to reach and challenge ourselves, make choices, take steps that we may not have. If we not had this reason to come together as we are now. Today, we are all blessed by the many gifts that were Ian, Peter, LeClair. The gifts we have taken in influence who each of us are today, and that we take into the world. As the pebble in the pond sends ripples through the far reaches of the pond, so does Ian's caring love and goodness reach far beyond ways that we can now imagine. I just one last thing I wanted to say, unless there's anything else we want to. I just want to say that so wonderful to see so many of you that I know, and for those of you I don't, look forward to meeting you. I want to say, because I still am feeling, like I said earlier, but I'm feeling that regret is that this is probably more for me as much as anybody else, but please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, be there for each other. I know we're not always going to be able to see each other all the time, but make the most of the time that we get. Even if it's not quantity time, just make sure to take the quality of the time that you get. That's it. Thank you, guys.
So to end with, I think we should end on a happy note. Here is Ian's favorite song. If you ever saw him to play karaoke to, if you ever saw him do karaoke to this, he's pretty special at it. Join us for some food and drink. We'll try to get all out. I'm gonna go. Feel free to sing along. Disturbing sculpture of some mountains, call it just why.
She told me that the time was loaded. I said, in that case, I'm going to come. And she said, fine. And then in 30 seconds time, she said, I wanna live like common people. I wanna do whatever common people do. Wanna sleep with common people. I wanna sleep with common people like you. What else can I do? I said,
stuck on Marshall.
I see what I can do. I took it to the supermarket. I don't know why, but I just started somewhere. So it started there. I said, pretend you can't remember. And she just laughed and said, you're so funny. I said, yeah. I can't see anyone else smiling. You wanna live like common people. You wanna see what common people see. Wanna sleep with common people. You wanna sleep with common people like me. But she didn't understand. And she just smiled and held my hand. Went to flat to all the shop. Cut your hair and get a job. Let's put some facts and play some fun. Pretend you never went to school. Still you'll never get it right. It's when you're laying in bed at night, watching monsters climb the wall. If you called your dad, he could stop it. Oh yeah, you never live like common people. You never do whatever common people do. Never fail like common people. You never watch your lives slide out of you. In the past, and because it's nothing.
Yes, I do. I don't know if you can see me.
Hey, Becky.
Hi. You're right down the street. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little over the music.
You're a baby. Are you texting him?
Cause everybody hates it too much. Especially I think it's not such a lot.
Hi.
We can hear you, sort of.
Tell I can turn down the
Tell it.
music.
Hi, Angie. Angie can't hear me. We can just talk shit about Angie. You can't hear me at all? We're like very, very quiet.
It's very
Oh, yes, that's right.
Watch it already. Hey, Angie.
Hey. Can you
Can
see
you
this?
hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit. Turn the page.
First, oh gosh.
Here.
You got more?
Yes, I have a whole bunch more.
Yes. I remember that picture.
That's the bloody shirt.
That's the shirt that got run
I
over.
was like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. It's a little blurry.
Sorry. Here, hold on. Some better ones. I'll try to hold it still.
Nice.
I'll scan these.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay. And then. No, that's pretty much
peeping
it.
in on everything.
I have a picture of the set list too, so we can figure out like what we were playing at the time. So
Oh, I remember all the songs.
yeah. So, but I'll scan these in.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, please do.
Right.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. You know. Okay. How are you?
Weird fucking week, man.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, your picture's over here and the camera's over here.
No, I know. I appreciate the effort.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think everybody's getting something to drink and eat, so I'm gonna go join them. But I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Let's talk.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody's leaving us outside.
Oh, no! Sarcastic! Oh, wow! I never would have
Oh, we were born within an hour of each other. I know the say we could be sister and brother. Your name is Deborah, Deborah. It never suits a J. And they said that when we grew up, we get married and never split up. Oh, we never did it. Although I often thought of it. Oh, Deborah, do you recall? The house was very small. We wouldn't sit on the wall. When I came round to call, you didn't notice me at all. Let's all meet up in the year 2000. One of the things when we're all fully ground. The dancing was brought by the mountain down the road. I never knew that you get married. I would be living down here on my own. I'm not time for moment. Thursday years ago. Let's go together. I'm not saying that you were the best. I was the first I lost you, but I was a mess. I had to watch and try and get you undressed. We were friends, that was as far as it went. I used to walk your head sometimes, but it meant oh, it meant nothing to you. Cause you were so popular. Deborah, do you recall? The house was very small. We would sit on the wall. When I came round to call, you didn't notice me at all. Let's all meet up in the year 2000. When it was strange when we're all fully ground. The dancing was brought by the fountain down the road. I never knew that you'd get married. I have been living down here on my own. I'm not down the moment Thursday years ago. Oh yeah, oh yeah. But do you recall? Your house was very small. We wouldn't sit on the wall. When I came round to call, you didn't notice me at all. It's strange when we're all fully grown. To a clock by the fountain down the road. I never knew that doesn't have to go to work. He doesn't want to stay.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, Marshall.
How you guys doing?
Okay. How are you, man?
You know. Hey. You all look like you're in an LL Bean catalog.
We are on Whidbey Island visiting my parents who were visiting us. They rented the place up here. So we were going to be out and about today until we found out about the memorial service. So we stayed in. So we're hanging out. Yeah, he was down at the beach.
Hey. Hey, the puffy vest, very Northwest.
Yeah.
He's so much older than when we last saw you.
Yeah, you were a little baby when we saw you the last time, I think. So it makes a big difference this time in life.
Yeah. You probably don't remember us.
No, he knew the name Marshall, but he didn't.
He hasn't connected it to a face.
Well, our son doesn't remember you guys either. We asked him. He was like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that is.
At the time he knew you, he was very into hanging out with Elliot.
Yeah.
You can sit down if you want.
Oh my gosh, he's talking. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, he talks.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Oh man, it's like
he's in the process of getting sick right now.
Probably.
That's something to look forward to.
Yeah. You want him up? Okay. Yeah, and it's like super into soccer.
So he says he likes basketball better.
Does he like basketball better? Well,
been telling me.
he is like the tallest kid in his class.
Sports.
Yeah, well, we were just at a birthday party the other day because we're like entering the phase where like birthday parties are the central social phenomenon, and there's like one every weekend. There's two. Yeah. Anyway. And I was just like marveling, like he had his like Barcelona soccer jersey on and was like speaking Catalan with all these other kids, and like every time he'd kick a ball and it'd go off the roof, he'd go, "Hola!" Like, it's like, when did my kid become he was American when we left.
It's gonna be a free world we got.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
At least he'll always be like, well, my family lived in Barcelona for blah 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 years. You just have to say that all the time.
Yeah.
Where's he holed up right now?
He's in bed.
Yeah, it's midnight here, so
Yeah,
midnight 30.
We should probably actually wake him up to do the like bedwetting prevention.
Oh wow, is that what you're up to now?
Yeah. Well, we're slowly making the transition. It's taken a very long time.
Yeah. Well, this little guy's pretty resistant.
You gotta use the potty, dude. It's great. It's great. It's the best thing ever.
I endorse potty.
Yeah. I like his facial expression is like, listen, I don't know.
All right, I'm not interested in this phone call anymore at all.
Yeah. Listen, I'm just gonna do it on my own time. That's all.
You guys look so Northwesty. I can't get over it.
Yeah.
It didn't take us long.
You're like, get me at that pullover. Let me throw on that fleece. Layering.
Go for a hike, go kayaking.
Yeah.
But so are you guys at your house now?
Oh no! So my parents were renting a little place up Whidbey Island for the month of March to come and see us. So we see them on the weekends while they kind of gallivant around during the week. So it works out pretty well. Yeah, we'll have to show you the house sometime.
Yeah.
Your house looks super cute.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. I know you guys miss the view of the pool for the cracks.
Yeah, and the parking lot.
Yeah.
We still have a beautiful parking lot from our house, though. So like, we feel like that's a consistency in every place we've ever lived.
You have
We
the
live
what?
across from a big parking lot. So
Okay.
our house is situated across the street from a community college, and we're right next to their giant parking lot. So
nice.
at least we didn't lose that.
At least that you have that consistency going in your life. That's really important.
Exactly.
Hopefully there's like a major stroke.
Like, I like this house, but is there a parking lot? I need some like large field of asphalt next to me.
It's funny, like the house has this split personality because it's even the other direction. It's like incredible. It's like just sit out the mountain stuff. But then like the other side of the house is just like some parking lot and chain link fence. It's kind of funny. It's like the two faces houses.
Yeah, he really wants that phone.
So you wanna press the button?
Okay, we're gonna prop it.
Far away.
How old is Elliot now? Is he?
That works. Hey, look at that. See, we can all set that.
Is Elliot 3 or 2?
He's about to be 3 in a month and a half.
He's a 2-year-old.
When's your birthday, Elliot? So Marshall, when is your birthday?
We've been working on it.
Yeah, well, you know, it'll sink in eventually. Emmett still doesn't really know when his birthday is.
Yeah, he'll ask for presents and be like, it's really
Most
you might
of
want
the
that
last
before it's your birthday.
most of the last year, he was asking like, "So, am I 5 now?"
I think he gets it
No.
more. It's like, when will I be 5.5?
Yeah.
So it was nice to be able to participate in that service. Glad Tim made that work out.
Yeah.
It's you know, as I'm sure that you've experienced, just being so far away from everybody. It's just super hard.
It's a little tough watching everybody hug afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh boy.
Well, at least you could see that part. We were just watching you.
Why? I don't understand.
There was something got messed up with the feed.
So their feed dropped out, and you could only see us just like reacting.
Yeah, it was a little strange, but
So,
like, we could hear them just fine. And you know, we had their feed for a while, and then Marshall, you gave your remembrance, and then it went back to their feed for a while, then it inexplicably just cut back to you for the remainder. So we could hear his dad speaking, but we couldn't see him.
Yeah. See all the like
reaction video.
Yeah. The like totally uncanny resemblance. It's not uncanny because they are related.
They stood.
Yeah, just like the mannerisms are all like you can be like, oh, that's where that came from.
So that would have been a trip. I've been seeing his smile like all week in my head. It's just amazing. I just dreamed about him last night.
I haven't gotten to do that. I don't think I've been sleeping enough to have dreams.
When was the last time you saw him?
Would have been when we left. So when Nicole left about 6 weeks before, Nicole and Elliot took off from Seattle 6 weeks before I did. And so like I guess it was the Friday night before I left, Ian and Amanda and Harrison, Melinda and Teresa and Mark, we all went out. Went to the hula hunt. of all places. Because I'd never been there, and I was like, I live down the street from this place, and I've never been there, and let's just all go. And so we did. That was the last time I saw him. We text messaged a few times.
Hanging on the table.
Yeah, because we haven't been back to Austin at all.
Yeah. You guys left in the middle of last school year, is that right?
Yeah, I left. It was September, and I took off like right before Halloween.
Okay. Yeah.
I got here by Halloween. It was basically November. Yeah, and then I exchanged messages with a bunch of folks from Austin now and again. Talk to anybody.
Yeah. It's like weird and intermittently as you've been texting me, like
yes.
once every 12 to 15 weeks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Something cryptic and snarky.
Precisely. I just sent some messages to Rachel and Nick. Just giving them the heads up on this feed and mentioning to them that you and I had talked about, like, let's make a concrete plan in the future to all get together again.
Yeah.
But she told me that, Nick told me that his brother moved out here, so they're going to come to the West Coast sometime this next year.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Rachel came to Barcelona, slept in her bed, and then left. We didn't get to see her again.
Yeah. No, we didn't get to hang out again. We did hang out for like 5 hours. Maybe. Not even. Maybe like 2.
Slept a lot of it.
Billy's doing his own thing over here.
We're not that captivating.
That's okay. It's just boring adult stuff,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's much else to say. It's just, hey, dude. Yeah, that's what kids are good for. Oh.
Are you able to do this with other folks? Video chat with some people that are there?
Not at the moment. I don't know. I've been chatting a lot with Andrew, Ian's boyfriend, I guess. And I don't know, he said he was interested in like passing me around the party.
See if you can handle that.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay awake.
Yeah, sure.
It's
What
like,
time you got there?
It's 1:45 in the morning right now. So a certain pregnant person should probably go to sleep soon.
Alright. Don't tell me what to do.
You do whatever you want.
See, I haven't congratulated you correctly here.
Oh, yeah.
Upcoming arrival of the newest Escamilla Patterson.
Yes.
Isn't it outgoing?
Yes, I guess it is outgoing. That would be the better way to describe it.
Yeah. I was like reading Emmett a book tonight and feeling the baby kick, and I was like, in a few months it'll be on the outside.
Yeah. Kicking us like normally.
Emmett's excited. Today when I was like, he's kicking, you can feel it. He was kind of like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
But he's pretty excited.
It'll be interesting to see. I feel like I've seen like multiple models of older brothers with this kind of age gap, or older siblings. And it's like they're either really psyched about it or they're like super irritated all the time.
I don't think Emmett's going to be irritated.
I don't think so.
It worked out well for my brother and I. I mean, we're 7 years between us, and that meant there was like never any rivalry.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't foresee
like
that.
we were in such different places in our lives throughout childhood that
I mean, that's one thing I really like about the large age gap is seeing like kids have like lots of competition between each other, you know, 2 and 3 years or even less. And I feel like, you know, Emmett's gonna be excited to take care of him.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's just like very carefully inspecting them.
Yeah, that's one of his skills. He's like laser focused on things obsessively.
Yeah.
Sounds like
goes through phases.
Sounds a little bit like some combination of the two of you.
Where's he going? He's here again. It's like, is there an elevator below the phone? Oh, is he going down?
Yeah.
Come back up.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Alright, well, we miss you guys. It's good to actually see you. I didn't realize WhatsApp even has a video feature. You know, I'm not very technologically aware.
There's something kind of ironic about that, Simon.
I know. It's like, hey, when it comes to my own personal life, I don't want to. In school, it has to be a part of what I do. Yeah. But anyhow, it's totally great to see you guys. Good. Sorry, it's under these circumstances.
Yeah, I know.
Such is the case with females.
Yeah, that has been like the lone silver lining is there's been lots of like reconnecting with people.
Yeah.
Like with us, yeah.
Don't eat it.
He's come up the stairs and then I couldn't stop it now. There's no way to get out. It's standing far too near. How the hell did you get here? Somebody else through. I get my whole life to see it. Just to stood there. In your underwear. If fashion is your choice, then when you're naked, I guess you must be unemployed, yeah. But once it's underway, there's no escaping the fact that you're a girl, he's a boy. I couldn't stop it now. There's no way to get out. It's standing far too near. How the hell did you get here? Standing naked in somebody else's room. I give my whole life to see it. And just you stood there. In your underwear. If you could close your eyes and just remember that this is what you wanted last night. So why is it so hard for you to touch him? Give yourself to him or Jesus. I couldn't stop it now. There's no way to get out. He's standing far too near. How the hell did you get here? Standing naked in somebody else's room. I give my whole life to see it. Just you stood there. in your underwear. I wanna see you, wanna see you standing in your underwear. While in the world, looking at go out and play for Monday. It turns into Sunday, and now we're back here at Monday. So you can do it all over again. I think so we find these places. So now we go. That's so cold. Going out late from Monday. Come to the street on Sunday. We could go on over to Monday. We gotta do it all over again. Go again. Chest out. On your marks, get set, go!